Yes, hello all. Uh, Welcome to the session. In today's session, we'll be learning about orthographic projection of solids. So before going to the orthographic projection of solids, you need to understand what are the types of solids that we have got. So we'll see in detail in the later stages. So in this particular session, we'll see how projection is obtained on the vertical plane and the horizontal plane. That mean to say front view and top view. So for this to understand, we need a solid here. So in order to obtain the front view first, we'll take an object which is a square prism. Here you can see a square prism is having a top surface and the bottom surface both as a square. So top surface is a square, bottom surface is a square. That is why it is called a square prism, and you have vertical edges. So four rectangular faces you're going to obtain. So here each corner has three edges. So take any corner, you have got three edges. So basically it is corners and edges. Okay, so let us name this bottom surface here. I'll name this bottom surface as A, B, C and E, D. So with the counterclockwise direction. Also we'll name the top surface which is A1, B1, C1 and D1. So now let us have a plane here which is a vertical plane. So let me project the top surface first. If I have a light source here and the projections are obtained on this vertical plane, right? So orthographic projection means there is no converging and diverging of this object. Whatever the object, the dimension of the object is present here, the same dimension is presented over the vertical plane. That is something about orthographic projection. There is no convergent, there is no divergent of the object here. So light rays passes parallel to each other. That is what it means. So let me project the top surface, that is A1. So when I project this point here, you have got A1, you have got D1 here, right? So A1 can be seen, D1 cannot be seen because D1 is behind A1. So now when I project this, A1 is visible, D1 is invisible. So A1 dash, D1 dash. Since it is a front view, so we'll name this as A1 dash, D1 dash. D1 dash in bracket because D1 is not visible. Similarly, if I project this, B1 is visible, C1 is invisible. So B1 dash, C1 dash, C1 dash in bracket. Similarly, I'll project the bottom surface here. So I get A dash, D dash and B dash, C dash. So when I join all these points here, all these corners here, so this is how the shadow falls onto this particular plane here. Okay, so when I plan accordingly, see when the shadow falls, this shadow you can see here, the shadow obtained is A1, B1, A and B. So these points should be visible. So you can look once again, this is how the shadow falls onto this vertical plane. Okay, so this was about the front view. So I hope it is clear. So let us move on to the top view. So when I see the top view, again I consider the same object. The figure which is highlighted here in green color represents the top surface here. So when I see in this direction, I get a top view. So A1, B1, C1, D1 are the points on the top surface. So when I project it onto this particular plane here, on this particular plane, so A, B, C and D, I'm going to project this on this particular object here, vertical plane, on this vertical plane. So I'm going to get A1 A, B1 B, C1 C, D1 D. So A1 without bracket, A in bracket because A is invisible. When I see from the top, A lies behind A1. See, I have named it in capital letters because the original body is always named by capital letters. The top view is named by A, B, A1, B and so on. The front view is named as A dash, B dash, A1 dash, B1 dash and so on. So this is how I'm going to join this particular plane. Okay, so I've got the top view. So this is about the top view. Next we'll move on to obtain the front and top views in the same image here, okay. So I've got a plane here, vertical and horizontal planes. So here when I have an object here, so you know how to draw the front and top views here, so which is very simple. So this is how I get the front view and this is how I get the top view. Same thing, you must be knowing how to obtain this. Okay, so keeping this in mind, we'll move on to the further problems to solve for orthographic projection of solids. You have got pentagonal prism, hexagonal prism and so on. So one by one we'll take up the problem and we'll solve. So do not worry about it. So we'll take up the problem individually and solve and we'll understand this. So this is how you are going to name it. So I've showed this to know how we name the object solids here, okay, in the front and top view. So now let us go for the pentagonal prism here. I have a plane I have a pentagonal prism. As again you can see, you have got pentagon on the top surface, pentagon on the bottom surface, and all rectangular surfaces here. So this is hidden, even this is hidden. I have represented only this line to make it simple and understand. So let me name this. So it is A, B, C, D, E in the bottom surface, A1, B1, C1, D1, E1 in the top surface. No doubt, in any way, in any manner, you can name the component or name the solid. You can start naming from A1 here, but you should, provided you should always understand that if A1 is here in this particular case, A should be in the same line of action. If you have got B1 here on the same line of action, you get B here. So now let us see how this pentagonal prism is projected. So all the points here there we have projected here. Then how do I get a pentagonal prism? So this is the way I get a pentagonal prism. But it is not sure that whether I'm going to get this surface or not. So to make it understand, what we do is we have a light source, we place a light source here, and I can see this rectangular surface here and this rectangular surface over here. So this is not the way we get the 2D projections. So what we'll do is we'll change it to this way. So two rectangles, one the actual shape, one the reduced one. So how do I draw the front view on this particular plane? So this is how it is projected. The shadow gets projected here. Okay, right? So this is how the shadow gets projected. So now how do you draw or how do you name this? So I can see A1, B1 and C1 here, which is A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash. So I know this is A dash, B dash, C dash. So I name this as the same here. So this is the visible points or lines. So now how to obtain the front and top view? So the front view I can see this way. As you can see here, I've shown two rectangles here, two rectangles, so which is named by A, B, C. So since it is a front view, A dash, B dash, C dash is visible, D dash and E dash is invisible. So I represent this with respect to within brackets here. So the same thing you can replicate onto the top surface, which is A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, D1 dash and E1 dash are invisible. See, since it lies somewhere here behind, so I'm going to name this here. Okay, since behind B1, D1 lies, so B1 dash, D1 dash. Again I can go with chronological order: A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, D1 dash, E1 dash. So this is how I've named it. So this is the centroid or the center of a pentagonal prism, the axis. I've shown this as an axis here, right? So this becomes the axis here, but you need to represent this. Then how to find out the center of this pentagon, we'll see in the later slides. So this is how we obtain the top view. When I see from the top, A1, B1, C1, D1, E1 are visible, whereas A, B, C, D, E are invisible. So all the A, B, C, D, E are represented in brackets, rest everything without brackets. So this is how you obtain the front and top view. I hope it is clear. So now what we'll do is we'll understand different conditions with the different objects here. So I've got pentagonal prism, hexagonal prism, square prism. It is very easy to understand. We'll take one problem and we'll solve in the later session, in the next session. So here the one thing that you need to understand here is, whenever they give you corner condition in planes or in solids, when they give you corner condition, let the corner be towards the right of the observer. Okay, if the condition is given as edge condition, edge is resting on HP, let the edge be towards the right. Why? Because I'm inclining this body towards right always. So that is why I consider edge condition, edge towards right, corner condition, corner towards right. But in plane it was vice versa. It was exactly reverse what we had done. So how to find out the center here? Basically what I've done is connect this corner to the opposite midpoint of this line here. So join this corner to the opposite midpoint of this line and consider one more corner, connect to the opposite midpoint of this line. So now wherever the intersection of this line is, that from there you have to project the line upwards and draw the center line or axis line here. So this is how you find out the center of a pentagonal prism or centroid of a pentagonal prism. And I hope you have understood which condition to take for edge condition and corner condition. And also one more thing you have to understand here. So again, since it is an odd number of side here, pentagon, when you take corner here, corner towards right, you will have edge towards the left. So do not worry about edge towards the left here. Consider only corner towards the right or edge towards the right. Other side, let it be anyway, do not worry about it. Suppose if I consider the hexagonal prism here, when I take corner condition, corner is towards the right. But fortunately what has happened here is, since it is an equal number of sides, here, again you get a corner on the other side. Okay, if I take edge onto the right, you get edge here. Okay, now if I need to project the front view here, as you can see in this, if I see in this direction, I can see this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. So there are 4 corners here. That means to say 4 edges. If I see perpendicular to it, you can see 4 edges. That is why I've written 1, 2, 3, and 4 edges. Again, I need to find out the center here. How to find the center of hexagon? Join 2 diagonals here. So you'll get the intersection is the axis line projected. So get this axis line here. But here it is not the same. Why? I'll let you know. You have got 1 corner here, 1 corner here, 1 corner here. Basically 3 edges. So this axis line is behind this edge here. So that is why I have not represented the axis line here. Instead, there is a visible line. So we have got 3 visible lines here, vertical lines. Also in the other way, you can see this is one surface and this is one surface. So you get 2 rectangular surface. That is what I have represented here. This is about 2 rectangular surfaces. This is how you are going to obtain the front and top views. Okay, I hope it is clear. So now let us see what is to be remembered in this particular chapter here. When I say orthographic position of solids, these are the points that's to be remembered. So first thing is we are going to study prism, that is square, pentagonal and hexagonal prism, pyramid, square, pentagon and hexagonal again. We go for special type. I call this a special type because you have cone, tetrahedron and hexahedron, which is not the same as this particular case. So you need to solve these many number of problems. Say at least we will be solving around 20-25 problems in this particular chapter. So now the other thing you need to remember is the edge condition. So when they give you edge is resting on HP, take edge to the right hand side. When they give you corner, take the corner towards the right. Okay. Now always you need to understand, you need to split the problem into 3 different conditions. The first condition is solve the problem with respect to HP. So always take the first position with respect to HP. When I take the first position with respect to HP, the second position we should always be with respect to HP only. Okay, whatever the inclination they give with respect to HP, you have to take the same inclination. Sometimes they may confuse you by giving the VP as the second condition, but you need to divide the problem into 3 different conditions. First HP, second inclination with respect to HP, and third inclination with respect to VP. Now as in case of planes, you also have something called as beta angle here. Now when do you identify or when do you know that the given problem is beta angle? When the axis is inclined to both HP and VP. Say in case a square prism, he says when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees and the same axis is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So then you have to find out a beta angle. The given problem is beta angle. Suppose if they say when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees and appears to be inclined to VP at 40 degrees. Appears, you have to underline the word appears, and you need not find the beta angle because the given angle itself is a beta angle. You need not find out a beta angle. So I hope you have understood how to draw the prisms, what are the problems that we are going to solve, and what is to be remembered in this particular chapter. So in the next session we will be solving the problem on square prism. Okay, we'll solve one problem on square prism, and later on we'll move on to pentagon, hexagon, pyramid and special type. Right, so thank you for watching the video.